This is part 3 of Luke's last editings. Like I said, I put all the cleaned up text together, and then when I'm reading them, I've got verses that are more well connected, and I'm putting those together. So what I need to do is start where I left off, and it's not that here, Jesus is asking him a question, or Jesus, it needs to be asked as well. Have you lived by these commandments? So that's what's being sought here. Not did you know them? Everybody should know them. Um, mm. And then he walked away. He didn't become sad. He just walked away because Jesus is going to teach now how hard it is for the wealthy to enter into his kingdom. And then here I'm replacing the word Judas with Peter, or the name. We have left our families to follow you. And Jesus told them, not one of you has left your home, wife, children, and its children for my kingdom from YV. It can only be given to him. So Jesus is trying to correct him on what he meant by we left our families. Got rid of that, and I made him a very rich taxman because he was the official over the taxman. This I'm removing because even though it's part of the parable, it makes no sense when you know the parable. So there's no way you could put it into a bank. I mean, in other words, Jesus is saying that you're supposed to go spread the word about him, or let those around you, know who Jesus is. So there's no way you can park that and collect interest. Okay, so that's out. They brought it to Jesus with a blanket on a colt. Now this, I know I changed the word to a hide from a garment, but I'm thinking it's now a blanket. And the object is and through with a blanket on a colt. I'm going to get rid of these words. Yeah, even though I got rid of them, it would have read funny if I left the word with there, so that would have been taken out. But I think they came with a blanket, okay? Because a blanket, that would have been with, if the colt was tied up, it might have been tied up with a donkey. And when there's said, your king has need of it, then he would have said, if he's the king, then he needs this as well, So, and this has to be added to be with our highest. That's the promise. That's what they're rejoicing about. Here, when I tied these two verses together, they enter Jerusalem as they enter Jerusalem, Jesus said. So I don't need any of these words. I may move the connection over to here. Believed that this day, I think I added S. No, I think I added an S here. Believe this day, it would have believed my days. And that's Jesus saying the favorable year of the Lord, my days that I'm to be here and to visit Jerusalem. And yes, I'm reading my visit as days, as this is the days, is his visiting. But he's not really visiting, he was sent, but he is to visit Jerusalem. I added the words "and the next day" because when you read this text, since they're in Jerusalem, it's got to be from day to day. And then, see, he taught daily at his gate, and here, this is what's talking about. Like I said, sometimes the text is doing a summation of what just happened, or it's summing up to what will happen next will happen. But the object is that the next day he's at the gate again. And when I read this, even though I could have kept it, I removed it because by who the sword did you remove those selling and buying? That was really pretty much the question. Here I'm changing the word from come to return. Will he not return and kill these grape owners and then run out the vineyard? Remember, when you're reading a parable, you are supposed to acknowledge that it's about Jesus's kingdom. Before people, not in the presence of their people, but in the presence of our people. Because if their people, they would have been, that just wouldn't make sense. Their death, not our death. Because they're talking about this here's the law written by Moses. A scribe, not some of our scribes. A scribe said you've answered correctly, so they wouldn't all said that at the same time. Poor widow put in one coin. They had oops. Put in, it was 2 coins, so it would have been reduced, not as I've added it. Will give you words of wisdom. This is what I was saying when you study the video or watch the video. I explain what is Holy Spirit, and this is going to that message that YV will give you words and wisdom. Okay, here, not much to say here. Now these are signs on earth, but the object is they aren't really signs. So I'm debating whether that word gets taken out maybe next time. Just put Jesus's name here instead of at the end. They came to Jesus by a gate to listen to him. I think that's the proper order, or it feels like it's proper order when I'm reading it. The small change here that I did will be, I am among you. Well, I will be among you. There's a big difference in what that's changing, but Jesus is referring here that for whom you serve is not a king. See, Jesus at this point is saying that when he goes to heaven, he's sitting at the right hand of the Father. So he is not really a king, and he's trying to say this. We just use the word king as the one who's going to lord over us. So, but actually, that if you're obeying our Creator, then you really truly are serving YV. Now, reading this through, I needed to add, then Jesus told Peter. It just sounded better when I read it. And adding these words here, condemned to death by sinners. I was condemned by sinners, but we needed to be to death. And here it says a stone's throw. Well, throw, I'm thinking, is a wind up. That could be quite far away, but just picking it up and pitching it off to the side because they heard what he was saying. So here I'm using it just a pitch or a toss. So just to let you know what that word is. And then he kissed him, and by kissing me, he betrayed me by kissing me. Very simple. Don't need about another hour. That's when you figure out a timeline, that's way too long. The men holding Jesus had been mocking. Okay. This, if I had left the word were here, I'm constantly thinking about the text. And when I'm thinking about this text, it's like, who could have wrote that? They're gone. So it has to be something that Peter said, this is what happened. And they had been mocking him and beating him and even blindfolded him. So that's how I'm feeling that the text got added, is that because who else would have witnessed this? And Jesus would have had to tell them, because there are places in the text that only Jesus could have told them what was happening. I just don't think that was one of them. The only question at a length, I think the word only needed to be added. He demanded his death, and I want to punish. This is Pilate talking. This is taken out as this guy, I'm saying, is the disciple that carried it. And so I feel that's more true than this here new guy. I mean, I just don't see it that they would know who the stranger was. Okay. So to have Simon, and we know that he is a disciple, he was there. So and this is speaking about when they came to crucify him and this place was on the road. As you ascend into Jerusalem, this is where they would crucify the Israelis. Okay, because the house for meeting our Creator was right there. So for intimidation of the priest's power, this was pretty much what was being done. They had put a notice above him. He did no wrong deserving death. Then Joseph, we don't need to say his father when we know Joseph is the one who we're talking about is his father. And he would have been the one that went to Pilate, and Pilate would have, I don't think he invited him in or anything. I'm just saying he was able to relay that, hey, the guy crucified you, the guy's father's here. He wants to know if he can take down the dead body. And that's what happened. So he got the permission to do so. And he's talking about this tomb hewed into the hill. Should put hillside. Because it's the road, like I said, you have to descend and then ascend to get into Jerusalem. So it has to be on the side. Don't need the word suddenly. And then you can see I'm leaving space for text to come down here at some time. Of repenting with yes. And by Jerusalem bringing to my death by Jerusalem. It's not in Jerusalem, it was by Jerusalem. And I thought I really thought that I needed to add here just a little bit, but it's not distorting the sentence. This could have been put another place, but I put it here at the end. Well, that'll be it for the text here. And what I'm going to do is, since I've got a little time on the o'clock. I'm going to show you some of the moving around, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's save that, and then save as what, I need to make this as label C, last editing, combining, reordering. Oops. Okay, now that I want to make sure I've got a copy of that. Yes, and this is C. Okay. I'm going to go through here and clean this up before I get going, but yeah, no, I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to stop right here because I think I might as well start going live streaming, because I think I could make this type of information as live stream and then do short videos, so you don't need to watch this, but it gets me started into streaming. So I think that's what's going to happen, unless I change my little mind. And I forgot to turn the lights on too. So, okay.